The residential and academic district of Bloomsbury forms part of the West End of London, governed by the London Borough of Camden, 1 mile from Charing Cross. On Duke's Road, food bank staff attend the rear of St Pancras New Church on Sundays, catering religiously to those in need who live locally, a sad reality still prevalent in many parts of the capital. No shortage of hotel accommodation in the West End for international or domestic visitors, and Bloomsbury couldn't be any more well connected to serve these businesses. Being a district of academia, you are never far away from a bookshop. The enticing Judd Books on Marchmont Street is larger than it appears and is constantly well stocked with a rich selection of 50,000 new and used books covering all manner of subjects at prices accommodating all budget levels.
Bloomsbury was named after the Blaymond family, who held the manor as early as 1201. Starting out as Blaymondisbury, it transitioned over time to Blaymondsbury and then into its current form. By the 17th century, the wealthy Russell family members, most of which were given the title Duke of Bedford, had acquired the estate. Each successive duke in the family was seated at the country house residence of Woburn Abbey in Bedfordshire, and the eldest son of each was given the courtesy title Marquess of Tavistock, derived from the River Tavy in Dartmoor, which itself just means flow in the British Celtic language.
This rural space took on its general shape as a colourful district in the 1800s during the affluent Regency era from famed developer James Burton. Patrick Hodgkinson put together the chunky, concrete exterior of the residential Brunswick Centre in the late 60s. The Grade 2 listed structure is as brutalist as they come, doubling itself as a shopping, dining and recreational hotspot, a stark contrast to the surrounding romantic architectural landscape. It had previously become quite run down. The unpainted concrete deteriorated its condition, leading to leaking dwellings and a stained and dirty residue all over. As a result, the plaza became underused and neglected, leaving the original vision for the estate unrealised and unappreciated. This is the hugely successful renovated version back to its original modernist best. Landscaping around the scheme has been overhauled by narrowing the plaza width with glass shop frontages, canopies, central seating and water elements to create an active, lively streetscape. Of all the picturesque garden squares within Bloomsbury, Russell Square is perhaps the most famous owing to the underground station that takes its name. Being surrounded by classic Victorian, Edwardian and Georgian buildings, it was described in 1830 as a pleasant retreat from the cares of business. The significance of Virginia Woolf and her peers making up the so-called Bloomsbury set or group lies in the extraordinary amount of talent inside it. They recruited a circle of English writers, philosophers and bohemians and frequently gathered in several pubs and restaurants in the area around the British Museum between about 1907 and 1930. Having survived World War I, they dispersed into the general intellectual life of London, Oxford and Cambridge. Rastafarian musician and humanitarian Bob Marley had a special affinity with London, and during the hard winter of 1972 moved into a flat here at 34 Ridgemont Gardens. His band The Wailers were scoring their first big breakthroughs around this time and played their first London gig at the Speakeasy Club in Margaret Street. The Foundling Museum tells the story of the Foundling Hospital, opened by Thomas Coram for unwanted children in Georgian London. The hospital is now a playground and outdoor sports area called Coram's Fields. The use of these spaces is reserved only for those with accompanying children.
The London beer flood of 1814 was a bizarre but terrible industrial accident near Tottenham Court Road. A brewery had a 22-foot-high wooden fermentation tank held together with massive iron rings and containing the equivalent of nearly 4,000 barrels of brown ale. One of the rings snapped and the whole tank ruptured, releasing hot ale with such force that the back of the brewery collapsed, blasting open several more tanks to produce a 15-foot tsunami wave of 320,000 gallons of beer now approaching the public on the street. It claimed the lives of at least 8 people and took down 2 houses and half a pub along with it. All this free beer led to people scooping it up in whatever containers they could find, and some were just drinking it where it was, leading to reports some days later of a 9th victim's death from alcoholic poisoning. The stench of brown ale remained in the area for months, and the brewery was prosecuted. However, the disaster was ruled to be an act of God, leaving no one responsible. You can lose hours rummaging through the many bookshops here, from the new additions to masses of areas with that dusty old book smell. Bloomsbury Publishing here in Bedford Square helped reinforce the international reputation of London literature, particularly in 1997, after being the only publisher to say yes to the most profitable book deal ever in the Harry Potter series. The first national public museum in the world brings together under one roof the nature and cultures of the world, spanning continents and oceans. The British Museum opened to the public in 1759 on its existing site of Montague House, based mostly on the collections of Irish physician and scientist Sir Hans Sloane. With 8 million objects, the British Museum is comfortably the largest in the country and remains unmatched for collections of depth, breadth and wonder. Bloomsbury harbours some of the oldest and most prestigious educational institutions in the UK. The University of London makes Bloomsbury the base for several of its colleges, including the rather amazing London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. This world-beating centre for research in global health is home to clinicians, epidemiologists, statisticians, social scientists, molecular biologists and immunologists, all working to improve health worldwide and receiving its Royal Charter as part of the University of London in 1924. University College London, SOAS, the School of Oriental and African Studies, and Birkbeck are all within walking distance inside the district. The University of London's Art Deco library, Senate House, was one of the first ever skyscrapers in London, and its towering presence cannot be denied, even from a distance.